But right now, let's take a look at the candidates for the Arlington Million of 1996. And if you see a K and a gavel, you'll know that that means the horse was purchased at a Keeneland.
And Awad leads the way. True, he hasn't won a race in a year, but it may be more important to remember that Awad has not only won the Million last year, but he won the Secretariat here as a 3-year-old. He could be a horse for this course. Hall of Famer Chris McCarron will have him running late.
Out of order, but here is Torche Rouge, who's won his last 3, including the Arlington Handicap, at the same distance as today's Million. Pat Day rides the 6 horse, and he's ridden and won the Million with Paradise Creek back in '94. And here is number 2, Glory of Dancer. The lone 3-year-old in this race was a Group 1 winner in Italy last year and was 4th in the English Derby. This year carries 6 pounds less than the older foes and gets Mecke, who was champion jockey in Ireland 10 times.
And here is number 3, Villanor, the French Invader, lightly raced Grade 1 winner. He's won 5 out of 8 lifetime starts and is expected to be even happier with the firmer going here in the United States. Regular rattle Jerry Mosse is aboard.
Number 4 is Prince of Andros, 7th last year in the Arlington Million at 17-1. He's had 1 win this year, but not in this high class of company. And the jockey is Pat Ettery, who won the Arlington Million in '83 with the longshot Ptolomeo. Pat has also won 2 Breeders' Cup events. Remember Pebbles and Sheikh Albadou?
And here's that handsome boy we've been talking about, the 7-year-old Sandpit. He is the horse to beat today. He's been very sharp training here. You see he looks very sharp right there, in fact, anxious to get on with it. And that versatility of running style that we talked about, which allows jockey Corey Nakatani to place him anywhere, no matter how the race develops.
7 is next, Charles. See, here's Mecke.
Us hard-hitting, consistent Florida bred, won the Early Times Classic this spring, then went off form. He was treated over the summer for throat problems and returns to the races today, fresh and fit, under jockey Robbie Davis.
And you talk about a world traveler. Needle Gun's last 6 races have been in Hong Kong, Dubai, Italy, Ireland, England, and Germany. He had a victory in a Group 2 stake, and 2-time Arlington champ Shane Sellers is back at his old stomping ground.
And rounding out the field is Diplomatic Jet. This speedy stalker will be a factor in the early pace in spite of his outside post position. Only 1 victory this year, but an important one, the Grade 1 Early Times Manhattan. Randy Romero is his 8th jockey in 10 starts this year.
That's the field. Who do you like? 8 minutes to post. We'll take a break and be right back. The 16th running of the Arlington Million is just minutes away here in the heartland of America. Let's take a quick check of the odds with a field of 9 as we get ready for post time. Awad, the winner of last year's Arlington Million, is at 3.5 to 1. Glory of Dancer is at 13. Villanor at 7 to 2. Prince of Andros at 35. Sandpit is the 7 to 5 choice. 6, Torche Rouge is at 6. Mecke is 13. Needle Gun at 30. And Diplomatic Jet at 15. Oh, sure, there are a lot of long shots on the board out there. But, you know, the mutual windows sell more than just win tickets. So for more on that and a Budweiser long shot, here's Bob Newmeyer.
What to do, what to do. Awad, Sandpit, Awad, they've met 4 times. Each has beaten the other twice. Well, time to get creative and go the old cold exacta route. Remember that race at Hollywood on July 21st, the Caesars Palace, Grade 2 turf classic. This was some kind of race with Awad, Sandpit eventually won by Talwa, who'll take the lead from Sandpit, and Awad will jump up late and just nip Sandpit for second money. But today I feel they'll turn the tables. Sandpit will control the race with a dawdling pace. Awad will kick second. So let's open the bags and get a wad of money with the cold exacta of number 5 Sandpit and number 1 Awad in this week's Budweiser long shot exacta.
Ooh, cold, very cold. Of course, I know a lot of people that like to box those exactas because if you don't, you know, they always come in the other way. Well, David Donk is the trainer of Awad, the horse that Bob picks to finish second in our cold exacta. And David will be trying to win the Arlington Million for the 2nd year in a row with Awad. And this horse hasn't won a race since last year's Million. But Dave sees some important similarities between this year and last year's road to the winner's circle right behind me.
I think there are. Last year, he was second in the Sword Dancer 4 weeks before the Million. Ran a big buyer number, got beat ahead by Curious Clown, did very well. He seems to do very well in Saratoga. This year, he ran 5 weeks ago at Hollywood in the Caesars, runs a big number, 109. They broke the track record by 4/5. Just Dick Mandela's horse ran like a monster that beat him. And he's done very well, and I think he'll run big.
And there is Awad at 7-2, owned by Jim Ryan's Rye Hill Farm, a son of Belmont winner Caveat. Who do you like? One more break, and then we'll have all the action of the Arlington Million, number 16. Stay with us. Who will be holding this beautiful trophy in about 5 minutes? Symbolic of victory in the Arlington Million. Well, the folks here think that Sandpit's owners will be, because that is the 7-5 choice. Quick odds. Awad at 3.5, double digits for Glory of Dancer and Prince Andros. Valinor is now getting a little more support up at the mutual windows and is 3-1. Torche Rouge, who's going for his 4th straight victory, is at 6-1. Mecke can find no friends at the mutual windows. He's at 14, the same price as Diplomatic Jet. Charles, what about Torche Rouge, Bobby Frankel?
Well, I think it's a horse we should never overlook. He's won both of his starts here at Arlington. He won the Arlington Handicap, and Bobby Frankel is always dangerous on the turf. This 5-year-old British bred has a real versatility of style, too. He went to the lead in one race when there was no pace. He took off in the other race where there was a pace. It's interesting, though, Bobby Frankel has been absolutely blanked out in the Breeders' Cup. He can't win a race. It's the frustration of his life. And his rider is Pat Day, who's won the most races with 8 and the most money with over 12 million. So kind of a disparity there. 1
minute until this 10 furlongs on the turf gets underway. Just time to get a pre-race comment from Bob Newmeyer.
Well, you don't have to be Sherlock Holmes to figure out that the 2 top North American horses are Sandpit and Awad. But with old Sherlock in mind, let's think about a European that might be a threat, and certainly Valinor fits that bill. He's up on the board at 3-1, and he was 6-5 in a field of 10 in the Grade 1 Prix Garnet at Longshot in April. He threw in a clunker in July at Sandown, but the excuse they're using was that he did not like the soft or yielding ground that day, and he lost to a crackerjack horse by the name of Halling. And I think that perhaps some of our fans that follow European horses are maybe licking their chops that Valinor is up there at a very nice price of 3-1. I think that the European punters would have him considerably lower than that. As for this pace, well, it seems that Sandpit is the controller. Nakatani has the option of putting him on the lead if it's really a dawdling pace, or sitting just off it as he has so often. That's the advantage he has. And the disadvantage, obviously, of Awad is that he needs a hot pace. And we'll see how McCarron can handle it here in the Grade 1, $1 million Arlington Million. Dave?
I love to watch Sandpit race because you'd never know whether he's going to be up close or from behind. But when Corey Nakatani says go, this horse has an incredible burst of speed, and Dick Mandela always has him at top form.
Well, as we said, the pace is going to be enormously important in this race, and with the European horses in here, they'll mostly take back, and we don't have much pace among the American horses. So.
In terms of the post position, Diplomatic Jet on the outside, was that bad or good drawn out there?
Well, he wants to go to the front. I don't think it's going to help him a lot. He'll have to clear the whole field, but again, there's not a whole lot of speed inside him to clear.
So, Mecke moves in. Let's go up to Michael Rona for the call of the 1996 Arlington Million. Michael?
About half the field loaded for the Million. Much discussion about Awad trying to win back-to-back millions, but the fact that he has not won a race in the interim, I can tell you that in the 135-year history of the Melbourne Cup, there have been only 3 back-to-back winners, the most recent of which did not win a race between Melbourne Cup triumphs. I refer to Think Big back in the 1970s. So somewhat of a precedent has been set, albeit on an international basis, but then this is international racing at its finest, and we're about to see the Arlington Million decided. Sandpit, one of the last to be positioned, drawn in the middle slot, and Diplomatic Jet has the outside post. They're just about ready. Sandpit just giving a problem. Nakatani out of the saddle. Sandpit not in the most agreeable mood, it would seem. seasoned campaigner.
Charles, you and I are watching it here. Not only is Sandpit kicking, but it looks like they were doing something with the bridle.
Well, they were trying to ear him to get his head lowered away so they could load him in the gate, and the starter inadvertently almost pulled his bridle off of him. He could have been a loose horse and a late scratch if that had happened, but obviously it's all right. This seems to be unusual behavior for Sandpit. I just don't remember seeing him being this reluctant to load, and now he's getting a little more agitated, but now he's in, but that doesn't do him any good for the running of the race.
And as Diplomatic Jet moves in, here's Michael Rona.
Nakatani balanced in the saddle. They're ready. Racing in the Million. Sandpit comes away cleanly. Valinor away smartly in the green silks. Likewise, Glory of Dancer along the inside. Prince of Andros pushing through. Torch Rouge looms up to them 5 wide. No speed on early. Needle Gunners 6 deep. 2.5 lengths to Diplomatic Jet around Mecke and Awad. Just 6 lengths covers the field, and they crawl down past the line the first time. Torch Rouge inside Needle Gun by a length. Prince of Andros pulling hard. Sandpit elects to take the trail. He's 2.5 lengths from the pace. Diplomatic Jet have given a bit more rein. 3 wide by Romero as they leave the straight. Glory of Dancer in the yellow silks along the inside. Valinor splits that pair. 2.5 to the back markers. Awad and Mecke keeping him company as they work past the 3/4 of a mile pole. It's Torch Rouge assuming the role of pacemaker. Needle Gun a neck away. A length and a quarter. Sandpit, who's now 3 wide, looming closer. On the inside comes Prince of Andros and Diplomatic Jet having a wide passage down the back stretch. Valinor just in behind them, 4 from the front. Glory of Dancer getting shuffled back on the inside of Awad, and Mecke is 3 wide. It's been a slowly run race at the half mile. Torch Rouge by a half length. Needle Gun second, and Sandpit looming closer with every stride. He's about to have a crack at the leader at the 3/8 turn. In behind them, Valinor making headway, but caught on the inside. Awad sweeping around the field, going up 4th at the 5/16 from Diplomatic Jet. Glory of Dancer, Mecke, Prince of Andros well back, turning for home in the Million. Torch Rouge just in advance of Sandpit. Awad is charging at them down the outside. Then Needle Gun, Glory of Dancer and Mecke. Sandpit and Awad battle past the 8th pole. Awad gains the upper hand from Sandpit. Mecke coming after Awad. It's Mecke gunning down Awad in the final 16th of a mile, and Mecke is coming away to win the Million. Mecke for Robbie Davis, 2 lengths Awad. Sandpit third, then Glory of Dancer, Torch Rouge and Diplomatic Jet, Needle Gun, Valinor and Prince of Andros last to arrive.
And this victory is so much more important because of the slow early fractions. 48-1, 111-4. But jockey Robbie Davis knew what he has. Last going down the backstretch, keeping company with Awad. It was the 2 late chargers who made it a race through the stretch. And home in 2 minutes and 2/5 of a second, Mecke, who had 3 victories this year, but none as sweet and none as hard fought as the one you just saw unofficially in the Arlington Million. Let's take another look right quick, Charles.
All right, well, Torch Rouge had set most of the early pace and had been in very tight quarters down on the rail. In fact, they popped a few rails out. Sandpit made a big move and looked like a winner. Then Awad came and looked like a winner. And now here comes Mecke. The 2 horses who had suffered most from the lack of early pace wind up 1-2. Mecke obviously benefited greatly from treating those throat problems over the summer, which had compromised his last 3 starts since he won the early times this spring.
And trained by Emanuel Tortora, Mecke owned by James Lewis Jr. This horse is the unofficial winner of the Arlington Million. We'll be right back. There's Mecke. And in Cocoa, Florida this afternoon, there's a hardware store manager with a big smile on his face because James Lewis Jr., who's the owner of this horse, named this horse after Tom Mecke, who oversees his hardware store in Cocoa, Florida. And Mecke, the horse, is coming back to the winner's circle after a very dramatic trip from last to first in the Arlington Million. Bob, let's look at it again.
Well, there was some traffic down the back stretch involving the top European invader Valinor. He is in the green and running about 6th, and you can see in the middle of your screen his rider Mecke will snatch up, and that obviously compromised his chances greatly in this race. But joining me right now is Corey Nakatani, the rider of the prohibitive favorite Sandpit. And speaking of compromising your chances, Corey, I must ask you about the problems in loading Sandpit today. Have you ever experienced that before, and what was wrong with this horse today?
I don't know. Maybe it was a trip to Chicago. He's done it before when he shipped, but I think that the pace was slow. I think he should have been right there in the lead. And I think that when he didn't go in the gate, that they'd compromise his chances. He just wasn't his day.
All right, we're looking at now Sandpit, and usually, Corey, when you can waltz around in 48 and 111, you've got plenty of juice left for the stretch. Not today.
Well, it's a matter of getting the pace set up, and I think that when the pace wasn't that fast, I didn't think that we had a really big chance in running him down. I tried to move at the quarter pole and let him go on, and it just, you know, I think maybe the starting gate was too much.
But fair to say that this wasn't Sandpit today.
No, definitely wasn't.
All right, that's Corey Nakatani. Dave?
And it was a stakes record for the Arlington Million. Mecke is the winner. It's unofficial. We'll be back with the prices and the trophy presentation after this. The Arlington Million is in the history books. I stand corrected on the stakes record. That still belongs to Awad, but the 1.25 miles on the grass in 2 minutes and 2/5 of a second, still the fastest this year. But that doesn't diminish the smiles in the winner's circle. Let's join Bob.
Joining me is Robbie Davis, the most surprised guy in the row, and I told him 15 to 1 on your horse today.
Yeah, he's an honest horse, and he really likes this course out here. He got beat a nose last year in the Secretariat, so he put in his race today.
No one, Robbie, thought a horse could win from off the pace today. Everybody said, oh, it's going to be a pokey half, and the closers had no chance. But here you are exploding in the lane.
Yeah, I was a little concerned. Awad got the jump on us down the backside, and he's going to be finishing strong. And I just didn't know if I could outfinish him, but I was able to follow him around the pack there and be able to get up.
That's you in the gold silks now roaring outside of Awad, and not too many horses can outkick Awad down the lane. But I remember Mecke ran a big one at Churchill with Pat Day, beat a nice horse, Petit Pousset, I believe it was. Same kind of stretch run today.
Yeah, when he's right and he puts it all together, he can really get the job done.
Robbie Davis back on Mecke. Congratulations.
All right, thank you.
Rode him in the Triple Crown, the Derby and the Preakness. Dave?
Yeah, it looked like Awad was going to get the victory, but here comes Mecke in the final strides. This 4-year-old son of Maudlin certainly put in a dramatic last to first finish this afternoon. Let's go back to Charlesy with more winning connections.
Well, here I am with Manny Tortora, who trained Mecke, and Jim and Alice Lewis, the owners. Of course, congratulations to everybody. It's kind of a sign of the times. Manny standing here, his cellular phone has rung about 4 times congratulating him. But Manny, I congratulate you too. You did a good job getting this colt ready to come back off a layoff.
Well, thank you. We had a little problem with him at Atlantic City, and we sent him to the university, and he graduated, and it looks like he's okay now.
With his throat.
Yeah, it cleared up, and he's done good ever since then.
All right. Now, we have to ask you this question. Now, we rehearsed for this down at the Super Derby when you won in Louisiana last year. You're not Breeders' Cup eligible. Have you changed your mind since last fall?
Changed our mind. No, we will not supplement.
Will not supplement.
No supplements, no.
Well, you have to be mighty proud of this horse. He ran tremendous.
The horse is our pride and joy.
Well, he should be. A good late closing run. He's got a lot of heart, Manny.
Yes, he does. He tries every time he tries. You know, sometimes a couple of those races looks bad for him because there's no pace in the race. If there's no pace, you know, he has to run these horses down. It makes it awful tough on him. Well, but he did a good job today, and Robbie rode him perfect today.
He did.
Yeah.
Well-timed ride, right to the wire. Thank you very much for your time. Congratulations to everybody, and we'll go back to Dave.
And he ran him down today, and it's official. Mecke pays $33, $10.20, and $4.60. Awad, winner last year, second today, $4.80 and $3. Sandpit, $2.40 to show, and the exacta, a 7-1 combination. We were just a few numbers off, $113.20. Stay with us. Right now, here's the full order finish, top to bottom, in this year's edition of the Arlington Million. Mecke and Awad from the back of the pack finished 1-2. Sandpit was third. Glory of Dancer. Torch Rouge faded to fifth. Then it was Diplomatic Jet, Needle Gun, Valinor, and Prince of Andros was last. Let's go back to Bob and Charleston.
All right, Dave, we're going to examine the splits of this race in Charleston. And, you know, Sandpit said, well, a 48 half should get the job done. A dawdling pace. but it was not the same Sandpit we're used to seeing.
Well, exactly, and the pace turned out not to be very quick. 48 and 1, 11 and 4/5. It didn't seem to phase those come from behind horses. The good horses will overcome it and do it anyway. Now here, after you, Bob, on the turn
Inside
for home.
fence, yeah, the rail. I think that was Valinor, number 3, that we saw having trouble in the backside. Hit the rail and actually knock it off its pins.
It pops right off very easily. Gerald Mosse's foot just brushed it and popped those rails right out.
Tough trip for Valinor. Dave?
Mecke is just so talented. He can win on the dirt as he did in the Super Derby. He can win on the turf as he did here today. Well, our Racing to the Breeders' Cup will be in New York for Cigar's next scheduled event. That's the Woodward, live on Saturday, September the 14th. And the following day, we'll be right back here with a feature from Woodbine, the Woodbine Million from Canada. That's for 3-year-olds, as well as the Futurity and the Matron from Belmont Park. So lots of action in store as we race to October the 26th and the Breeders' Cup. Le Carrière took the Saratoga Cup up in upstate New York. Lots of great action as we head to the Breeders' Cup.